folks. Welcome once again. We are here to help Gordon Dill with consumer expert Diane Lee. And Diane, people are trying to save every dollar they can right now, but you still want to be able to travel and enjoy the best parts of life in the world. How can we save a little money while we do it?
Yeah, that's the big question. And there are some definite tricks to the trade. So check this out and hopefully you can save more when you travel.
If inflation has you cutting back on travel, you're not alone. Still, there are deals out there if you know where to look and how. I'm 7 News consumer anchor Diane Lee with a look at some clever ways to enjoy a trip without going overboard on cost.
Literally 22 enormous whales breach together.
The enthusiasm that Terry Elder and her family have for adventure is boundless, and her tales of travel hold water.
I mean, it just makes you weep. It's so beautiful.
What's equally impressive are the clever ways Elder saves on her favorite pastime. Step 1, when possible, book only in the shoulder seasons.
Hitting it right at the very, very beginning, before people kind of get their vacation legs under them, or right at the very, very end. It tends to have lower costs and tends to be a little less crowded.
Step 2, for lodging, cross-check listings. Elder says some listings have clues on who manages the property, so call them directly.
Many times you're able to find the same rental on multiple sites, and the pricing can look very different.
When it comes to booking flights, travel agent Paula Fulgham with Thornton Hall Travel has some clever ways to save, like how to get around online tracking.
Just make sure you clear your cookies if you keep looking at the same flight over and over again.
If you don't, it'll just keep going up.
It'll keep going up.
And if you're going abroad, consider buying a virtual private network router that can make the airlines think you're in Europe when you book.
So for example, if you are in France and you book a flight round trip from Greenville, Spartanburg to Paris and back, that is going to be probably 50% less than if you book it here in Greenville.
So when do you book? A study of more than 900 million airfares by cheapair.com found the sweet spot to find the best deal is between 2.5 months to 3 weeks out. Anything before or after that could leave you paying top dollar.
It's worth noting Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport has 2 new low-cost carriers, Avello and Breeze. Along with Allegiant, they offer 11 discount destinations.
This is the most that we've had at one time, so it gives a lot of competition.
Just be sure to pay for airport parking ahead of time to save money and the headache of not finding a spot.
Remember when we went to Mountain View?
I know, I love that trip.
Elder's passion for hiking has led to another cost saver. She's learned many local libraries will allow you to check out the $99 state park pass for 3 weeks, all for free.
I've got another really good money saving tip.
Oh, okay, yes.
To the local hiker in Spartanburg. So they have a rental program for gear, but their rental prices are crazy reasonable.
Finally, the silent killer of any vacation budget is the food, especially with inflation. Elder avoids eating out by booking places that have kitchens. And whether it's where you're staying or what you're doing, one last word of advice.
Read those reviews.
Now, you might think that there are no deals left for the summer, but now is actually a great time to save on last-minute cruises. Many cruise lines will offer steep discounts to fill up capacity on ships leaving soon.
So many good ideas there. A couple things I think we can really talk about a little bit. I do have to say, first of all, boy, libraries do have a lot of good ideas in there, don't they? I mean, a free park pass.
Yeah, they really are terrific. And so many of us don't take advantage of all that they have to offer. And that free park pass is wonderful. You definitely want to be the first to try to grab that. But again, you get it for 3 weeks and you don't have to pay the $99 fee. And there are so many great parks that you can visit in South Carolina.
In 3 weeks, you can do a lot of hiking. That's such a fantastic deal. All right, so let's talk about one of the big issues you raised there. I don't think you called it this in your story. I believe it is called surveillance pricing. Basically where companies are tracking your online activity, what you are likely to buy and what you're likely to pay, what you're interested in. And isn't that why if I keep going back and checking a flight, the price goes up?
Yes, and it's so irritating. That's a story in and of itself, surveillance pricing, of course. But basically what happens, especially you've seen it when you want to buy something like plane flights, you see that one day and it's this price, and then you don't want to make up your mind until the next day, but you go back and it's already rising. And every time you go back, it continues to rise just a little bit more. Well, that's because they are gauging your interest. They've already know that you have visited that site, and they're going to charge you a little bit more each time because they know that you remain more interested. So what you want to do there, the piece of advice, is to clear the cookies on your computer, on your browser, so that you make sure that those sites don't know that you are revisiting them. It's as if you're sort of seeing those for the first time.
And if you're signed in on multiple devices, it will track you across multiple devices. So it's just, you want to be a responsible buyer. You know, okay, I'm going to look at this flight, for example, and I'm going to just keep an eye on it every day and see if the price comes down to where I can afford it. But based on what you're saying, that's not going to happen. It's not going to come down to you.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up the multiple devices, because that's where you can really get in trouble, right? You think that you've cleared the browser on your laptop, but unfortunately it already tracked you on your cell phone, so it knows that you're still looking at it. So what you really have to do is either make the decision that you are not going to do the research in the most accurate way. So you're only going to search for flights in a general way, maybe seeing what's up that month in terms of pricing, but don't pick the specific day. Or you make sure to clear your cookies on all of your devices.
Maybe a good idea all the time, actually. Yeah. So there are other strategies. You were telling me about using AI to help you, maybe even specifically with flight pricing.
I love this. So I just heard of this recently, and Gordon, let's do a little test. Just pull up for sake of better ChatGPT here.
Full so I can type.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, so type in show me the cheapest flights, say under $100 from GSP to a New York airport.
Oh, wow, okay.
In the month of September.
Wow, okay, that is specific. All right, airport. Now, so viewers at home, look how well we're typing here in September. Okay,
I'm impressed you did that without your glasses.
Well, yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. I'm sure there's typos all over the place. All right, so let's see what we got here.
Okay, so basically it's pulling up, and you may want to pull this full screen again so we can kind of see it a little bit better.
Now we all need our glasses.
Exactly, I do too. Okay, so it's saying no current flights under 100 were found in September, but the lowest fare one-way flight in recent data is 92, tied to September. But you can, if it's looking up like Orbitz or Expedia, and here actually, if you improve the search a little bit, scroll down just a little bit more, it's saying different airports that you can check, and type in one more thing, because when I did this little experiment earlier today, I will admit, and maybe you should type in, do the same search, say just look for the above search using low-cost carriers. And we'll see how that goes. You don't want to forget to tell ChatGPT all of the factors. Okay. So here it may pull up what I had seen earlier, which is things like Breeze, mentioning other airlines, Breeze, Airways,
Allegiant,
Frontier. So here you see there is the $99 one-way from GSP.
Wow, that is incredibly cheap.
Yeah, but though in January, not September. So you can kind of look, and then if you do other options like Stewart Airport in New York or White Plains Airport in New York, it can offer you, and the more that you are specific in those searches, the more it can give you an idea of where to look. Because I think so many of us fall into, hey, we'll look on Google Flights or we'll look on kayak.com, and we don't search some of those other airlines that are not at part of that search. And so therefore, this kind of mechanism will remind you of other ways that you can find cheaper flights.
And so really what it's doing here, because my move would be to just go to something like Orbitz or one of these other Priceline or whatever. But really what AI is doing for you is just running through all of those at once in the parameters.
Exactly. And I imagine the time saver in that by them searching all of those different sites for you and then giving you a clue. It may not be totally accurate, we should definitely say that, but at least it gives you a ballpark of where to go check to see where you can get the lowest flights.
So let's do the other thing you mentioned in the story here, since I'm on the internet now. Let's go to this VPN.
Yeah, virtual private network. So this is one example, and a trustworthy one, Surfshark. And yeah, Gordon, the reason why VPNs are so powerful, especially if you're flying to Europe or places abroad, is that you can change where you are, your IP address is located. So the IP address is basically that signature number that your Wi-Fi, that your home router has. And so if you can change that to be, let's say you make your home in France and you're buying tickets to France, if you purchase a ticket from France going from America back to France, there's a good chance that it will be half the price than if you purchased it in America, because goodness knows Americans get charged a little bit more.
Yeah, first of all, Man, that makes you mad, doesn't it? But still, at least you've got a hack to get around it. So when I'm using this VPN, which I have to admit I've never done before, do you select the country you want to pretend that you're from?
Yes, and you can change that. So you could select a country, see what the price is, select a different country, and you're going to love this. I know you're going to want to use a VPN after you hear this.
Maybe.
Because even though we're talking about travel, VPNs can also, though they do cost a fee, they can save you tremendously on other things besides flights, including tickets. So tickets to concerts, tickets to other things, because those roll out at certain times. So if you want to be the first to buy a ticket, you can actually change your time zone in the VPN as well. So you could still be in America, but you could change your time zone so you might actually be the first person. And if people in other countries are allowed to buy those tickets to concerts or things like that, then you could change the country and be in a different time zone and buy the ticket first. So give it a try.
Maybe a way to fight back against all the bots and brokers who are snatching up all those good concert tickets, right?
Right.
The woman you interviewed in your story has gone to truly phenomenal places. I mean, her pictures are unbelievable. Did she say 20 whales? Reaching?
Yeah, definitely. So that was Alaska. She's tried to hit
incredible.
all the national parks as well. She's tried to hit, and they have more kind of on the list, but I think that's going to be completed by the time that her kids reach the high school age. She just, when you love travel that much, you really do have to find ways to save, hence coming up, she was the one who told me about the idea of the library, but also just check out your local shops. I mean, she loves to hike, and so she rents the hiker gear from the local hiker and shop, and just has had great success.
A fortune. Unless you hike all the time, that would save you an absolute fortune.
Right, and you don't have to store all that stuff in your home too.
So does she pick the destinations based on price? Is she searching locations based on time of year and affordability, or is she just going where she wants and finding the best deal?
So I think it's a little bit of both. Definitely, like, price is the main factor. And I will say that she, in addition to a producer that we have here at WSPA, have both told me stories of making sure that they book in that, she mentioned, the early season or the late season. The shoulder season, exactly. And that might even involve checking with your school district and seeing if you can take the kids out just a little bit early if they don't have any major exams. Maybe they're younger ages and they don't have any major exams at the end of the school year. I know that our producer was able to do that, and that saved her a lot of money on her trip to Europe. So just picking that shoulder season versus even a couple weeks later, it can really affect not only your plane flights, but also your Airbnb or hotel fees.
I can tell you for a fact, and the kids' school schedules obviously is a huge complication of that, as you well know. But my wife and I saved up to go to Rome for years. I'm talking more than a decade, saving up for this trip.
Good for you.
And we got to go in late September. We never could have afforded it in July or August. But the secret is, when you go in the shoulder seasons like that, not only is it more affordable, there are fewer other tourists there. It's more fun to be there in those seasons.
Completely more enjoyable. And I look forward to that time too, Gordon. I know yours are out of the roost already, your kids and stuff. So
makes it a lot easier.
it's so much more ability when you're just traveling as a couple. And that's really the time you want to take advantage of those shoulder seasons.
It's the advantage of being old, Diane. You'll get
that. Hardly, please.
All right, so that's what great ideas for saving a little bit on travel. We've got some other great consumer tips for you when we come back right after a quick break. Welcome back. We are still here to help. We always cover sort of the familiar topics here. Save you money, keep you from getting ripped off. We talked a little bit ago about saving some money on travel, Diane. Let's get back to our roots here. Let's talk about not getting scammed.
Yeah, definitely. And the biggest way that you can get scammed, according to so many recent reports, is through online shopping. So we want you to heed these warnings.
In there scrolling through social media when we see an ad for something enticing and think, is that a reputable seller? Well, turns out fake retail websites have become the most successful type of online scam, according to a recent report. I'm 7 News consumer anchor Diane Lee with the key steps you should take before you buy online.
Oh, that buy now button. You don't even have to get off the couch to do some damage to your wallet.
You see things online and it's like, well, I can buy right now.
But far beyond breaking your budget, online shopping can leave you wide open for scams, a threat that cybersecurity experts say is getting worse. Rahim Khan, a student at USC Upstate, says he got hit right after he purchased some soccer cleats.
I just keep getting notifications, oh, $200 for this, $300 for that, $400 on Shein. I'm like, why would I, and I was in class at the time, and I seen my phone, I had to be excused from class. I went straight to the bank. I discussed it with them, and I found out that it was actually a scam.
Khan traced it back to a bogus shipping text that fooled him into thinking his cleats were lost in transit. Online shopping scams can take many forms, but one thing's for sure, artificial intelligence is taking the legwork out of building a website that looks legit. This florist page, so professional looking, with nice photos, multiple subpages, discount codes and all. It's no wonder Libby Thornton in Spartanburg fell victim. Her order for a funeral canceled, but the charge remains.
I've never been reimbursed since.
How much did you lose?
$42, but there were two other charges. One was $125 and one was $200.
They have an F rating.
Tammy Dankovich with the Better Business Bureau in Greenville says Serrata Florist has been on the radar of BBBs nationwide for 3 years.
It's a company that has 1,400 complaints, so they have been doing it for a while.
And why is it so hard to stop them?
They move around, they change addresses. They also, to be honest, sometimes they'll change company names. When that company starts getting known for having complaints or whatever, then they're going to just change their name and address and start all over again with victims.
Just one example in the fake e-commerce realm that is now so vast, a recent joint report found 84% of people targeted by a fake shopping website engaged with it, and nearly half of all targets lost money, making those bogus sites the most successful form of theft.
In addition to outright scams, there are also online retailers who have come into question recently for allegedly stealing your private information.
The Attorney General of Arkansas filed a lawsuit against China-based Temu, claiming its app is designed to gain unrestricted access to a user's phone operating system and can override the data privacy settings users believe they have in place. In a statement, Temu said the allegations in the lawsuit are based on misinformation circulated online, primarily from a short seller, and are totally unfounded.
It really bothers you that you don't ever know who you can trust.
To avoid these scams, always look for the secure lock in the checkout page. Serrata has none. And use online tools like whois.com to see how long the site has been active and if the domain registration matches the address on the site.
It's all there in the palm of your hands, and it's just so convenient, but that also makes scams convenient, I feel like. So I feel like we just need to be vigilant.
Now, you'll also want to beware of look-alike websites for well-known retailers. AI is making the bogus pages appear all the more realistic. Again, if it's the real deal, it's likely that domain was created several decades ago.
You've got some real symmetry in this episode, Diane. We did AI can help you in the first half, and now AI is out to get your money.
We're never going to win, Gordon.
No, I don't think so. Hopefully AI won't be taking our jobs in the next
few
weeks.
You never know about that either.
Yeah, I agree. So this is awfully frustrating stuff. I think, Diane, particularly because the whole purpose of shopping online is its supposed convenience. It's so much faster and so much easier, but the steps you're outlining here are going to make this a little more difficult here. You're going to have to take 2 or 3 extra steps just to make sure you're not getting ripped off if you're unfamiliar with that website.
Right, and that goes even for the websites that you might be familiar with, because there are more and more scams that are mimicking these really well-known retailers. I'm not going to name any specific retailers right now because, we don't want to call out any that are dealing with this, but because people are frequenting those particular websites, they may change like a single letter that sometimes can appear as a typo when people are doing a search, and then people might go to that page and it looks like that actual retailer. So you have to watch out for the mimicry there. And then you also have to watch out for those situations like the poor woman in the story dealt with, where you're not used to hiring a florist to do something in a certain location, but somebody might pass away or something like that, and that's when you seek out that florist and they say they cover that area and you don't know that website is a fake.
Flowers especially, a lot of people buy flowers online. Like that is a huge percentage of the flower business. And if you don't buy flowers a lot, there you are.
Exactly, especially if you don't buy it from that particular florist, and that often is the case because you might be seeking out a florist in an area where you're sending flowers to somebody who doesn't live near you. So, and with that site in particular, Gordon, and I actually we can pull up the BBB report if you want on that particular site, which we have since learned has been taken down since the story aired. But as you can see, one review from the BBB, and if you scroll down, you can see.
My favorite right here is stole my money. That's
Total
what it
scam.
says. Stole my money.
Stole my money and never refunded. And that is the story over and over again. And this is why I wanted to, pinpoint how people can seek just some advice on whether they should use a site. They're all one star.
And they're all relatively recent. This is all 2025.
Yeah.
All one star.
Exactly. So, the problem with this particular site is just that
56 pages.
Oh yeah, 56 pages, and that's just the reviews. Then there's the complaints in addition to that.
Holy cow!
When the story aired, there were about 1,500, and I think there's gotten to be a lot more complaints if you switch to the complaints right there. Okay. I think there's over like 2,000 at this point. But the site is no longer operating.
314 total complaints
quickly has gone
years.
up. Yeah, in a total of 3 years. Yeah.
So all right. So Serrata Flowers, all the red flags, but this same step of going to your Better Business Bureau website, searching that company name, that would work in a lot of cases. Although, would it work, for instance, we live in South Carolina. If I went to the upstate BBB and searched a business online, if that business is not here, would I still get this information?
You absolutely would, because the BBB has chapters all over America, so it would direct you to that chapter. So what you could do is just even a Google search, you could type in, florist, and then you'd name the city, and then you put, BBB reviews. And that search would be very helpful in identifying which ones are good BBB reviews or which ones don't. Or just go to the BBB within the city that you're buying the product and type in florist, and it will direct you towards ones that are listed that then you can check their ratings that way.
And some of the steps you would take that you're training employees on at companies now to avoid things like phishing scams and other social engineering scams will protect you from some of this. You mentioned the lack of the lock. That's the first thing I looked for on that Serrata Flowers website. But you also have mentioned things like slightly different spellings or slightly different misprints in the ads themselves. Those can be big red flags for you.
Yes, and what you notice is many times you'll take the photos that are on these sites and they've stolen them from other sites as well. So there's a technique where you can take those images and you can put an image, you can just drag and drop it right into Google. And then it will pop up all the places that have that image. And by doing that, you can see if that originates and it's only unique to that site and therefore would probably be more authentic, or if they've just, captured images from another site and are using it from that site and it's not really theirs, which would indicate it's likely a scam. But yeah, I know, Gordon, we recently had to go through the training ourselves as well, and just pinpointing all those little red flags, links that you shouldn't click onto, because you're going to get these text messages with offers as well that you need to watch out for as far as online shopping.
And it is interesting to me that look, more of our business is moving online. Let me put the website back up here, because you mentioned that this is now the number one way that people are stealing our money.
Yeah, definitely.
The
in
number
fact,
one.
Right. So there's a report that, and you can see here, this is the percentage of people who've been, have experienced these online scams. And right now, 23% of victims have actually been victimized, and 30%, the combination of the 30 and the 23 have engaged. But when you scroll down a little bit more, what you were referring to, Gordon, was that online purchase scams, there you go, it is the very top bar. 84% of people have engaged in online purchase scams and 47% have lost money. It is really the number one. And you recognize all these other scams, right? The tech support scam, employment scams we've talked about, fake check sweepstakes, debt collection. These are all, and phishing, they're all very big scams. But online purchasing is number one. And I think that has been fueled by the fact that so many of us, in addition, are purchasing nowadays by seeing fun stuff on social media, and we click on those and we're sent to these websites that that look very legitimate, but we don't realize are not legitimate.
Some of the same red flags that will protect you from every other scam we discuss on this show would protect you here, in the sense that, boy, that price sure is lower than I've seen in other places, or, oh, that price is going away almost immediately. I have to click right. One of the first things in your report was somebody saying, ooh, here's an opportunity to get this right now. And every time I hear that, I go, no, it's a scam.
Exactly. I'm glad you pointed those out because those are two kind of social engineering aspects. So they'll offer you that great deal, but they'll also say it's a very limited time. And we all know that real stores can do that too, to a certain extent. But if it's just really far below market value, then you've got to really have your senses up and make sure that you double check to make sure that that site is legitimate.
And the trendy hot items are huge for these online scammers too. For instance, I just learned about, and I bet you did too.
I know what you're going to say, Labubu, which at first I pronounced Labubas because
La Bubba or La Bow Bow, but it's a Labubu. It to me seems a lot like a Beanie Baby, kind of the same kind of hype. But
and you
either way,
look at them, you're like, okay, why are these so popular? But they are.
People love them. They collect them. So,
and now there's copycats.
Because they're hot, because they're out there all the time. Yes, as you say, scammers and copycats are everywhere trying to capitalize on this hot item that people are buying online.
Yeah, in fact, this one item is so hot that it might have actually catapulted that 84% to even higher, Gordon. But, you know, puns aside, it really is something when you have a very, very coveted item that even you have to look even more into whether what you're buying is real.
Christmas season, the kid is demanding a specific Labubu or La Bow Bow or La Bobo. And if you look at the right price and you find it online, just have your antenna up.
By the way, I think I recall, and it might be wrong, but that the fakes are now called like Lafufus or something.
Lafufu, that's right. They have fakes called Lafufus.
There we go.
And now I feel like we're talking like toddlers as we do this thing. So you know what? Let's wrap it up. Diane, that is our consumer expert, Diane Lee. I am Gordon Dill, and we are always here to help. We'll join you with a new episode when you see us next time. Have a good day, everybody.